So the gentleman's question was, as a general statement, could I tell him what's not covered under a property policy, a homeowner's policy? So again, it depends on the policies. What I can tell you across the board is they always exclude automobiles and their parts and other roadworthy vehicles. You don't want to know how many clients I have that had several motorcycles in their garage that weren't licensed, weren't insured, and they didn't get a dime for them. If you have vehicles that service the property, that could be anything from a riding lawnmower to a tractor, but things that you use that are part of servicing, then that's a vehicle that would be covered. And the parts for that vehicle would be covered. Automobile parts, a lot of guys have collector cars and things like that. All those parts that are in their garage, they're not covered. Tools, well, if you earn your living using those tools, most policies are going to have a limitation under the category of business things. But a good example, I had a guy that he used to be a welder and did that for a living. And the insurance company had told him that they wouldn't pay for any of it. And he had a lot of expensive welding equipment. He came to me and hired me to help him with his claim. And in my conversations with him, I learned he's doing something else. He was doing something else at the time of the fire. They were no longer business tools. It took me nearly a year of fighting, but I finally convinced the insurance company that I was going to win one way or the other, and they relented, and they paid for all that equipment. He was owed that under the policy. Another thing that's not covered on many policies, and I mentioned this earlier when I talked about the debris removal, is soil. A lot of policies will exclude replacing the soil, so that's something that you need to know and take into consideration when you're looking at whether or not to rebuild. Most policies will have limitations on some types of personal property, such as money, gold, bullion. They'll list a number of things. You just have to read your policy because some have more restrictions than others. They'll usually pay for it, but there's a limit on it. One of the things that often comes up is insurance adjusters tell people that their firearms aren't covered for any number of reasons. Well, under most policies, they aren't covered for theft, but they are covered in a fire. And contrary to what a lot of people think, there's a lot of people in California that have guns. And I can tell you from doing insurance claims, there's a lot of them out there. I have had insurance adjusters say that unless they could provide a serial number and proof of when they bought the gun, that they didn't know for them. No such thing. First of all, part of that gun is left in the debris, can be sorted out. As long as you had the guns, they owe you for the guns in just about every policy that I know of.